Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC, your ultimate home for all things Liverpool. Today we dive into the latest buzz. Mohamed Salah's heroics keeping the Reds alive, frustration against Burnley, huge $450 million transfer truths, Arne Slot's striker plans, a shock update on a 25-year-old target despite Man City and Bayern interest, and a rare public appearance from legend John Toshack. Stay tuned because you don't want to miss this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with every twist and turn in the transfer window. Liverpool no 450-meter transfer truth after Burnley frustration and Mohamed Salah heroics. Liverpool have had to turn to somewhat unlikely heroes in each of their 3 opening games of the Premier League season. But this was a case of the familiar as Mohamed Salah scored a stoppage-time penalty to snatch victory for the Reds at Burnley. Deserved. Yes, they were the dominant side at Turf Moor in a drab encounter. But clear-cut chances were few and far between on a day where Arne Slot's men looked set to be frustrated. Liverpool recorded 27 shots against the Clarets, but only 4 were on target. None fell to any of their front 4 from open play, with Salah's winner coming with the caveat of being a penalty. Instead, Andy Robertson first tested Martin Dubravka moments after coming on in the first half, before Dominik Szoboszlai stung the Slovakian's gloves from distances after moving into midfield. Substitute Jeremy Frimpong would also be denied by the shot stopper late on, with all 3 lining up at fullback at one point or another. With Alexander Isak on strike at Newcastle United during the opening weeks of the season, Eddie Howe regularly bemoaned how the absence of his star striker was costing his side points, as they went winless, fighting out 2-0-0, draws and losing 3-2 to Liverpool in their opening 3 games. It would have been easy for the Reds to make a similar excuse as they toiled against Burnley, having belatedly brought in Isak in a club record move on transfer deadline day. It is easy to wonder what if and how things might have been different had the Reds been able to call upon their 125-meter man in attack rather than left him at home. But this was not just a case of Slot's men being wasteful and lacking that killer final touch. A different striker would have likely made little difference. Instead, this is a new-look side still gelling together after the busiest and most expensive of summers at Anfield, which saw 8 new senior signings arrive through the door and 450 minutes spent. As frustrating as it might be, it was always going to take time. It has taken late drama for Liverpool to emerge victorious in each of their 4 games. And while that will not be sustainable across an entire 38-game campaign, they continue to demonstrate why they are the reigning Premier League champions. 4 wins from 4 to maintain their 100% start. They are 3 points clear at the top of the season, and have now scored in every league outing. Over the past 12 months, even if it was a case of only just in their latest efforts. Supporters excitedly waited throughout the international break for a first glimpse of the Isak in Liverpool colors, but they will have to wait a little while longer after Slot took the decision to leave his new striker at home. There was logic to that decision. An 18-minute substitute appearance for Sweden during the break is the limit of his game time since the final day of last season, while he spent the majority of preseason training in isolation. But such logic would have perhaps gone out the window, in the fan base at least, had Liverpool been left unable to break down newly promoted Burnley. Instead, Salah sent them into raptures late on. Not for the first time, and it won't be the last time. The Reds have got no money, but will still win the league, they chanted ironically after the final whistle. Liverpool lead the way once again. And while not at their best, Slot can at least be comforted by the fact his new-look side is continuing to put maximum points on the board. It might not have fully clicked for the champions yet. But after a 450-minute spending spree, it is only a matter of time. Liverpool player ratings as Mohamed Salah keeps his cool but only one other. Excellent versus Burnley and Doyle with the Liverpool. Player ratings and scores after the premiere. League match against Burnley at Turf Moor. Liverpool secured yet another. Dramatic late victory when Mohamed Salah's injury time penalty earned them a win at 10-man Burnley on Sunday afternoon. Salah struck in the 5th minute of the additional period after home substitute Hannibal Medbury had handled Jeremy Frimpong's cross, with the hosts having had Leslie Ugochukwu sent off for 2 bookable offenses on 84 minutes. The result means Arne Slot's side have once again moved 3 points clear at the top of the early Premier League table and maintain the 100% start to their defense of the title. The Echo was in attendance at Turf Moor, and here we run the rule over the performances of the Liverpool players. Alisson Becker, 6 safely observed one-shot fly over early on, but otherwise watched Liverpool's attack flounder from a distance. Dominic Szoboszlai, 7. Pressured Burnley out of possession a few times, but unable to offer much in attack from right back before becoming far more influential in midfield second half. Ibrahima Konate, 6 not. The most convincing with either some defending or distribution, but no real errors, and sent difficult header over from corner before break. Subbed Virgil van Dijk. 6-1 sloppy pass into midfield aside, uneventful defensively, and spent much of his time after the interval in the Burnley half. Milos Kerkez, 4 booked for a very poor dive attempting to win a penalty, looked uncomfortable defensively at times and not much threat going forward. Subbed before he was sent off ahead of halftime. Ryan Gravenberch, 8 only Liverpool player who looked remotely like unpicking the Burnley defense first half and close with 1 drive shortly after break. Good showing. Alexis Mac Allister, 6 clobbered heavily by Ugo Chukwu early on and clearly affected by it and subbed at halftime. Mohamed Salah, 6 didn't get much change out of Hartman before interval and too often isolated on the right. More involved second half, but too many wrong decisions. But held nerve from the spot for the winner. Florian Wirtz, 6 tried hard to find space and more joy in that regard second half when dragging 1 shot wide, but didn't influence attack sufficiently. Subbed. Cody Gakpo, 6 corner, deliveries a threat from the left but crosses when cutting in didn't amount to much. Second half became one of diminishing returns. Hugo Ekitike, 6 surrounded by defenders and not given much service first half, but some good touches and made half chance for himself. Subbed Andy Robertson for Kerkez, 38, 7. Instantly made a difference with Liverpool's first shot on target and cross-created chance for Chiesa later on. Connor Bradley, for Mac Allister, 46, 6. Added pace and urgency to efforts down the right and often popped up in the area. Booked. Federico Chiesa, for Ekitike, 72, 6. Sent decent header wide with his first touch. Rio Ngumoha, for Wirtz, 87, created. A chance for Jeremy Frimpong, for Konate, 87, saw shot saved by Dubravka, and then won the decisive penalty. Arne Slot explains plan for Alexander Isak after having to leave. Liverpool striker out versus Burnley. Alexander Isak is not part of Liverpool's squad for the Premier League match against Burnley. Arne Slot has revealed Liverpool club record signing. Alexander Isak is being lined up for a debut against Atletico Madrid in midweek. After explaining his absence from Burnley, Isak wasn't even part of the matchday squad that traveled to Turf Moor on Sunday afternoon for the Premier League showdown against the promoted Clarets. The striker, who completed a $125 million move to Anfield from Newcastle United on deadline day at the start of the month, made his first appearance since May when making a late cameo from the bench for Sweden last Monday. And Slot believes the Burnley clash came too soon for Isak and explained why the 25-year-old is almost certain to feature when the Reds begin their Champions League campaign at home to Atletico on Wednesday evening, as everybody knew he didn't have any team training at Newcastle, then went to the national team and only played there for 15 to 20 minutes, said Slot. We think, with a week where we play 3 games in 7 days, this is the best lead-up for him to be available against Atletico Madrid. Asked how quickly Isak can get up to speed, Slot told Sky Sports, "That's always difficult to say. Up to full speed. What I can say is that normally in a pre-season, after 1 or 2 weeks you play your first 45-60 minutes, you build that up gradually. But that you do with proper training sessions during the week, and now we hardly have any proper training sessions with the team because we play, like I just said, 3 games in 7 days, so where would he be? Second or third week of preseason, I would say, so able to hopefully play during the week 45 minutes or more, but then 2 days later, as you know, we play Everton again. It's going to be interesting for the performance staff, for us, to get the best out of him at the start, but also to keep him available for the end. Liverpool expect to sign 25-year-old next summer, despite interest from Man City and Bayern Munich. Liverpool are very much in the race to sign Marc Guehi, having narrowly missed out on acquiring his services during the summer. However, it will far from straightforward for the Crystal Palace captain to end up at Anfield in 2026. Guehi is not expected to sign a new contract at Selhurst Park, which would mean that he'd be a free agent next summer. Liverpool are very much aware of this, but so are Man City, who have made him a top target. On top of this, Bayern Munich have also been credited with an interest. Liverpool confident of closing Marc Guehi signing in 2026. Despite this, Pete O'Rourke has told Football Insider that Liverpool believe they are firm favorites to sign Guehi. If Guehi does run down his contract and become a free agent, it could be an open race for him. It will depend on who offers him the best deal, and Liverpool right now are still confident that they can land Guehi if he explores his options as a free agent. It does seem Liverpool will wait until next summer to try and push through a deal for Guehi, having come so close to signing him in the summer before the deal fell through. There are clubs across Europe looking at Guehi because the chance to sign a proven Premier League player and England international on a free would be a huge coup. It's an open race as things stand, but Liverpool have done some of the hard work already, and they hope that will give them the edge to get a deal over the line. It will be very interesting to see where Guehi ends up next summer, providing that he does not sign a contract extension at Crystal Palace in the next 9 months. Liverpool legend John Toshack makes rare public appearance after health issues. John Toshack managed a number of high-profile clubs across Europe during his managerial career, including Real Sociedad and Real Madrid, and both clubs honored his achievements this weekend. Liverpool legend John Toshack made a rare appearance in Spain this weekend as he was presented with an award by former club Real Sociedad. The 76-year-old hasn't been spotted in the public eye in recent years amid a number of health battles. The former Wales and Real Madrid coach suffered pneumonia after complications from COVID and was admitted into intensive care in 2022, but he was able to travel to Sociedad's stadium in San Sebastian as he was honored with their Diamond and Gold badge, the highest honor they give out as a club. Toshack was recognized after managing the Basque club across 3 separate spells, the first between 1985 and 1989, helping them win the Copa del Rey in 1987. He later left to join Real Madrid for 1 season in 1989 before returning to Sociedad for another 3 years in 1991.